Hey guys, it's Matthew Zachary, and I want to tell you about the National Comprehensive Cancer Network, or the NCCN. The NCCN creates the treatment guidelines for doctors that help cancer patients lead better lives. But I want you to know that the NCCN also has guidelines for you. The patient guidelines were funded by the NCCN Foundation and were created just for people with cancer and their caregivers. They're free, they're easy to understand, and they're available right now for you, the patient and the caregiver. So go check them out at nccn.org/empower. That's nccn.org/empower.
Everybody, I'm Joey Brenneman from Offscrip Health. Welcome to the tangential conversation companion to Offscrip Health's Before We Die podcast. We fondly name these mini episodes Lab Before Slab. These are the sometimes random, often fascinating, and always a little bit quirky conversations that happen around our production table. And we couldn't quite fit them into our regular episodes, but we had a feeling that there are listeners out there who might enjoy them. So here are the Before We Die creators, Sandra Miller, John McMahon, and Craig Allman, to geek out about the latest happenings in the med tech arena. Okay, so Sandy, what have you got for us today?
Okay. So I need to set this up a little bit for you guys. So, when you go to a restaurant now, even the fast food restaurants, and you look at the menu choices that they have in parentheses, the number of calories. And it's always interesting, like, let's take French fries. Do you want small, medium, or large? And you can see the differences in calories based on your choice of how many French fries do you want. Now, how many people actually choose the small French fries or skip them, right? So we have information, and yet we know about calorie, right? It's a number of calories. But I think that a lot of people don't necessarily understand or really take that in terms of, okay, what kind of impact does that have? And so they just like, yeah, I'll go ahead and get the fries and I'll make up the calories somewhere else. So what if you could change that? And what if you would know, based on what you eat, how that can actually extend your life expectancy? And so there are some scientists in Norway who have developed a free calculator that basically you put your food choices in there, and it tells you about how that will extend your life expectancy. So in their study, it turns out that if you change from, let's call it a typical Western diet, to a more, quote, optimal diet, and if you did that starting at the age of 20, that you could increase your life expectancy by more than a decade.
Wow. And
so this more optimal diet, it's pretty simple. So it's eating more legumes, which are things like beans and peanuts and lentils and things like that. So eating more legumes, more whole grains, more nuts, less red meat, and less processed meat. That's it. And so, okay, so we're not on this, in this posse here. None of us are that close to 20. Okay, so what if
depends on who you ask.
Yeah, so let's say you're 60 years old. You could still increase, if you make these changes, you could still increase your life expectancy by 8 years for women and almost 9 years for men. How about the octogenarians in the room and listening to us? So you're 80 years old. You could still, by making some of these changes, increase your life expectancy by another 3.5 years. When you're 80, wow. That's kind of, that's important time. So anyway, what do you guys think about this? Would you use something like this? Would this sort of make your choices, your food choices, do you think this might impact how you'd approach what you put in your body? Craig?
Yeah, 2 points. So one is that for health in general and also for lowering your risk of Alzheimer's, short or long term, you're really talking about the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
So that actually is a really good thing. Second thing is, as in terms of software, I think they've missed the boat. What you really want is a social app so that, let's say you're talking to your mom about your girlfriend and you end up saying, Mom, look, I'd love to talk to you more, but my app is saying that this will take 6.5 minutes off my life. Boss, really, I'm really sorry I screwed up this project, but if you keep talking like this is going to take 2 months off my life. I'm sorry, I'm leaving. So that's really the winning app.
That will be the upgrade of the app. We'll reach out to them.
Yeah, the whole social side and the stress side is really important because the food stuff's easy. Everyone knows that.
Then why don't people do it? I mean, that's the thing. We say it's easy,
Exactly.
but we don't do it. So if you have an app there, so that's what I'm curious about. What information do you have to input into it? Is this the same rules apply to everyone? I wouldn't think so. I mean, age and all that, but do you have to put any of your own information in it?
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things to help you track your food intake.
Right.
And so they've just organized this in the way so that the calculus is rather than calories burned versus the calories taken in, they have this all oriented around what you eat and its impact on life expectancy.
So it's you get a glimpse into what your behavior changed, the long-term effect that you can't see it, but it gives you a glimpse into what it could be if you would do this.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to try it and I'll let you know.
You have to report back.
Yeah, I'll report back because why not? I just think it's really interesting. But when you're working hard and you're sweating and, doing your exercise and you're trying to make progress and everything, I want to know okay, I really worked hard this week. When will I see the results of that? I want to know that correlation. I need that in some more near-term incentive. And of course, I don't have it yet, other than I know this is good for me, right? Sort of
right.
Intellectually, that. But so I want sort of more reinforcements to make me exercise and do those healthy things. So anyway, I'm going to give this a shot and I'll let you guys know what I think.
Yeah, it's also a problem between short-term and long-term. So, if you have an app that says, oh, this will affect you in 20 years, okay, I'll deal with that in a week, a month, a year. I'll eat asparagus at some point and, I'll cure everything. Whereas if it could be just wired so that, oh, I'm eating ice cream, oh, I'm getting an electric shock from my app. That could work.
Maybe.
Unless you start liking electric
shocks. If you're into that, yeah, I was just going to say you might be into that. Well, there is that cognitive behavioral therapy with the rubber band on your wrist.
Rubber bands, yeah, exactly.
Where you eat ice cream and you'll have to snap the rubber band.
The COVID-19 pandemic showed us how a microscopic virus could upend our lives and how unprepared our society was for it. There's so much more out there that we need to understand, which is why I recommend subscribing to Crooked Media's America Dissected, hosted by former Detroit Health Commissioner Dr. Abdul El Sayed. Each week, Dr. El Sayed sits down with doctors, scientists, culture makers, and policy leaders to ask questions like, how could new genetic discoveries change our relationship with our own genes? How could addiction to social media change our brains? Or how even climate change could make the next major pandemic more likely? To hear discussions on these topics and more, check out America Dissected from Crooked Media. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I think of the other side of, cigarettes, the gruesome pictures, especially in Europe, that are on a carton of cigarettes. And you see that, and people still do it. I think the biggest change in smoking was not allowing it indoors. And for those, the millennials out there, not allowing people to smoke in planes or having a non-smoking section inside of planes was pretty hilarious back in the day. So, I mean, I'm not sure I want to live in a world without fries. So
I know.
That was the name of my first book, by the way, A World Without Fries.
There should be a book called that.
I'm actually sitting here thinking about what size fries I would like to have.
It's great for a movie trailer, right? A post-apocalyptic movie trailer. In a world without French fries. Our hero.
And that does assume that 40 years from now, the world will be better than the fries you're about to eat, right? Because it may be apocalyptic 40 years from now. And like, man, I should have those fries. What the hell am I doing?
Yeah. So one of the things when I remember in elementary school, and I don't know, maybe 4th, 5th grade, there was someone who came in, I think she was a nurse, and she just showed this, there were 2 micro slices of lung tissue. And one was from someone who was a smoker, and one was from someone who wasn't. Mm-hmm. And that was it for me. I was like, well, why would I do that? That was one of those sort of lessons like, okay, get it, done, check, not smoking. Mm-hmm. It was so dramatic.
And that's the thing to look at, too, like why that kind of thing works on some people and why it just, other people, it doesn't feel like, well, that's not going to happen to me.
I don't think I've ever ordered, well, I probably have, like made a decision based on the calories. But it's probably, I've never done it solo ordering, let's put it that way. So there's not like a social pressure. Maybe your phone should turn on while you're ordering something like, Craig's mom shows up, like, you're really going to have the chicken palm?
Well, it was interesting when that first started happening because I think it happened in New York first was one of the places that happened to. And I was really like, oh my God, all these years I've been thinking that a muffin is healthier than a donut. And a muffin actually has more calories than a donut. So give me the donut.
That's right.
That's where my thinking went.
I want my damn donut.
Yeah. John also burns a lot of calories being chased by bears down mountains.
So the one caloric thing that I do know that's floating around in my head, which I will not order in my lifetime, I believe the blooming onion. What is the place, the food chain that has the blooming onion?
Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
That was rated one time and it said like, it'll take you like a day and a half to work this off. And the blooming onion was like 9 days. It was like so far off the chart about, where that was going to go and sit inside you for a week.
Oof. It's so delicious.
So, but Sandy, I look forward to hearing. And do you have a target age? Does it tell you you're going to die like mid-March of?
I don't know. I'll let you know. I got to I got to sign up for it and I'll try it and let you know.
Because that would be, I could see doing that where you're trading off. You're like, a week versus this sandwich. You have the sandwich. You don't know which week you're going to live longer. It's a tough call.
Yeah.
I think you should definitely journal as you do this and let us know your thoughts as well as your outcomes. All right, everybody. I think that's it for today. So I just want to say thanks for joining us for our Lab Before Slab. And please join us for our regular episodes for our more in-depth conversation with today's medtech and innovators of Before We Die on this very same feed. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's all for now. If you like this show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, follow us on social, and tell all of your friends to listen. Tell us the story in your own voice by leaving us a message at 855-AUDIO-66. That's 855-283-4666, and we might just use it in a future show. Before We Die is a product of Offscrip Health. We are a healthcare engagement company built for patients and caregivers by patients and caregivers. Our executive producers are Matthew Zachary and Andrew McDowell. Our senior producers are Joey Brenneman and Ariel Nachman. Our podcast co-creators are Sandra Miller, John McMahon, and Craig Allman. Our sound mixer is Kyle Moore. For advertising and media inquiries, email media@offscrip.com. For more information, visit offscrip.com.